My name is Emily Carter. I'm 29 years old, and this story starts with a house. The first real thing in my life I could say was mine. For years, I'd lived in tiny rentals, scraping by, paying someone else's mortgage. I worked long nights, skipped vacations, ate cheap meals just so I could save enough for a down payment. And when the day finally came that I signed those papers, holding the keys in my hand, I felt like I had climbed a mountain no one thought I could. My parents didn't clap. My mom just shrugged and said, "Well, at least you'll have somewhere for Anna to stay when she visits." Anna, my older sister, the golden child, the one who could never hold a job longer than 6 months, who spent more time on Instagram than in real life, and yet somehow always had mom's undying loyalty. I'd spent years being compared to her, and I'd long since stopped trying to compete. But when it came to my house, that was different. It wasn't just four walls and a roof. It was proof I could stand on my own. The first few months in the house were blissful. I painted the walls myself, fixed up the garden, bought furniture piece by piece. Every time I sat on my sofa, sipping tea, I thought, this is mine. I did this. But peace never lasts long in my family. It was a Saturday afternoon when I pulled into the driveway and noticed another car already parked there. My stomach sank. It was Anna's. I walked inside, and there she was, lounging on my sofa like a queen on her throne. "Hey," she said cheerfully, holding up a shiny silver key. "Mom gave me this. Said it'd be easier if I could just come and go." I froze. Mom gave her a key? To my house? My voice was low, controlled. And why would Mom think that was her decision to make? Anna just grinned, tossing the key in the air and catching it. "Because she knows I'll be here a lot. This place is perfect for me." I stared at her, heat rising in my chest. My name was on that deed.
Mine.
I hadn't sacrificed, worked, and clawed my way into homeownership just for it to be treated like community property. And yet, my mother had handed over a key like it was hers to give. I felt something snap inside me. This wasn't just disrespect. This was theft of my independence, my dignity. And I wasn't about to let it slide. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. Anna's smug face burned into my mind. I thought about my mother's dismissive tone, the way she'd probably said, "Oh, just take a key, Anna. It's basically your house too." But it wasn't. It was mine. And they were about to learn the hard way that I wasn't the pushover daughter anymore. The next morning, I woke up still fuming. I couldn't shake the image of Anna sitting on my sofa like she'd claimed squatters' rights. My fingers itched to call Mom right then, but I forced myself to wait until I had my coffee, until my voice wouldn't shake with rage. By the time I dialed her number, I'd rehearsed what I'd say a dozen times. She answered in her usual brisk tone. "Emily, good morning. What's wrong?"
I didn't waste time.
"Mom, why did you give Anna a key to my house?" There was a pause, then a casual laugh.
Oh, that.
"Emily, don't make such a big deal out of it. She's your sister. She needs a place to feel welcome." My stomach twisted. "Mom, it's not your house to hand out keys for. You didn't pay for it. You didn't sign for it. You don't live here." "I do." Her voice hardened. "Emily, don't be selfish. Anna's had a rough year. She needs stability. You have plenty of room. What's the harm in sharing?"
Sharing.
That word landed like a slap. Sharing was something you did with cookies or clothes, not with the home you'd sacrificed years of your life to earn. "Mom," I said tightly, "this isn't about sharing. This is about respect. You had no right." She sighed like I was the unreasonable one. "You've always been difficult, Emily. Why can't you just be generous for once? Your sister matters too." And there it was, that knife twist reminder that no matter what I achieved, Anna would always be the favored one. I ended the call before I said something I couldn't take back. But Mom wasn't done. That evening, Anna showed up again, waltzing in like she owned the place. She had bags of groceries with her and started unloading them into my kitchen cabinets. "What are you doing?" I demanded. She shrugged. "Making myself at home. Mom said I should spend more time here, so I thought I'd stock up." I gritted my teeth. "This is my home. You don't get to just move in." Her smile was infuriatingly smug. Don't be dramatic. It's not like you'll even notice. You're always working. I'll just crash here sometimes. No big deal. No big deal. Like my house was a spare Airbnb she could just book at her convenience. That was the moment I realized Anna wasn't just testing the waters. She was planting her flag. And Mom had given her the map. The following weekend, the whole family gathered for Sunday dinner at my parents' house. I hadn't planned on bringing up the house key in front of everyone, but the minute I walked in, I knew I wouldn't have a choice. "Emily," Mom said loudly, beaming at Anna. "Thank you again for letting your sister use your house. It means so much that you're helping her out." Heads turned. My cousins, my aunt, my brother, they all looked at me with raised brows. I set my purse down carefully. "I didn't let her use it. You gave her a key without asking me." The room went silent. Anna rolled her eyes. Don't be so uptight. Mom's right, you've got space. It's not like I'm taking anything from you." My father cleared his throat, trying to smooth things over. "Now, girls." But I cut him off, my voice sharper than I'd ever let it be in front of them. "This isn't about space. This is about ownership. My name is on the deed. Mine, not Mom's. Not Anna's. Mine. And if anyone thinks they can treat my house like a free-for-all, they're mistaken." Gasps rippled around the table. My aunt muttered, "Well, she's not wrong." But Mom's face darkened. "Emily, don't embarrass yourself. A house is just four walls. Family is forever. Anna has just as much right to feel at home there as you do." The words landed like acid. I pushed back from the table, my chair scraping loudly.
"No, Mom.
Anna has zero right to my house. Because family may be forever, but deeds are legal. And mine proves the truth you keep ignoring." The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating. I grabbed my coat and left before anyone could stop me. That night, alone in my house, I walked from room to room, my chest aching. My mother's words echoed in my head, but instead of breaking me, they fueled me. She wanted to pretend this house was hers to give away. She wanted to erase my name from what I'd worked so hard for.
Fine.
Then I'd make sure she and Anna could never forget whose name was written in black and white on that deed. And the next move I made would leave no room for doubt. The morning after that explosive Sunday dinner, I sat at my kitchen table with a mug of coffee gone cold, staring at the deed to my house. The paper felt heavier than its weight, like armor, like a weapon. I pulled it out of the file cabinet the minute I got home the night before, almost as if I needed proof I wasn't imagining things. My name, clear as day, Emily Carter. Owner. Sole owner. Not my mother. Not Anna.
Me.
I traced the letters with my finger, whispering, "This is mine." And then, something inside me hardened. If they wanted to test me, I'd stop playing defense. I'd go on offense. The first step was the locks. I called a locksmith that afternoon and had every lock on the house changed. New keys, new deadbolts, even the back door and garage entry. When he handed me the new set of keys, I exhaled for what felt like the first time in weeks. "That's it?" I asked. "No way to duplicate without me?" He chuckled. "Nope. You're the only one who'll have these." Good. Because the thought of Anna strolling in again made my skin crawl. That night, I texted my mom. "Locks are changed. Anna no longer has access. Do not give her a key again." The typing bubbles appeared instantly, then disappeared. A minute later, her reply came. "Emily, you're being cruel. Family comes before property. You should be ashamed of yourself." I stared at the screen, my jaw clenched. Ashamed. That was her favorite weapon, shame. But not this time. "No," I typed back. "You should be ashamed for disrespecting me in my own home. This conversation is over." I turned my phone face down and didn't look at it again. A few days later, Anna showed up anyway. She banged on the door for 10 minutes straight, calling my name, until I finally opened it just a crack. She looked furious, her hair pulled into a messy bun, her eyes wild. "Did you seriously change the locks?" "Yes," I said flatly. She threw her hands up. "You're insane. Mom said I could stay here whenever I wanted." I pulled the door open wider, stepping into the frames so she couldn't push past me. Mom doesn't own this house. I do. And I didn't say you could stay here. Her face twisted. You're so selfish. You think just because you signed some papers you're better than me? This family has always shared everything. No, I said firmly, my voice steady. This family has always taken from me. And I let it happen. Not anymore. For once, Anna didn't have a comeback. She stood there sputtering, her mouth opening and closing, before she finally spun on her heel and stomped to her car. As her tires screeched out of my driveway, I felt my chest rise with something new.
Power.
Of course, Mom called that night. Her voice was sharp with anger. How dare you humiliate your sister like that? She told me you threw her out like a stranger. She is a stranger in my house, I snapped. She doesn't live here. She doesn't pay for it. And she's not welcome without my permission. You've become cold, Emily, Mom hissed. Ungrateful. Anna would never treat you this way. I laughed bitterly. Anna's never had anything to protect, so of course she wouldn't. But I do. And I won't let either of you take it from me. Her silence on the line was deafening. For once, she had no lecture ready. I hung up before she could recover. Weeks passed. I focused on my work, on filling my house with things that made me happy, plants in every window, framed photos of friends who actually valued me, shelves lined with books I'd been meaning to read. It became more than a house. It became a sanctuary. But the tension with my family simmered like a storm cloud. Every Sunday dinner invitation sat unanswered. Every text from my mom carried the same manipulative undertone. Anna's struggling. Why won't you help your sister? And every time, I reminded myself, helping didn't mean handing over my life. Then came the moment that proved me right. One Friday evening, as I came home from work, I found Anna sitting on my front porch steps, arms crossed. How'd you even get here? I asked, unlocking the door. Mom dropped me off, she muttered. Said you'd come to your senses eventually. I turned, staring at her. You both really thought I'd let you waltz back in, didn't you? She stood, her face crumpling. I just need somewhere to stay. My lease is up, and I don't have the money for a new place yet. For a split second, the old me, the people pleaser, the invisible daughter desperate for peace, almost caved. But then I pictured my mother's smug face, the way she dismissed me, the way she tried to gift my home like it was hers to give. And I shook my head.
No, Anna.
You'll figure it out, just like I did. Her eyes widened, her mouth falling open. You're unbelievable. I pushed the door open, stepping inside.
No.
I'm finally believable. And you hate it because you can't control me anymore. I closed the door in her face. Her muffled voice shouted curses through the wood, but I leaned against the door, my eyes closed, my chest rising with relief. Because I'd finally drawn the line. And this time, it was carved in stone. After slamming the door on Anna, I expected a week of silence. But with my family, silence is never peace. It's preparation. Sure enough, the very next Sunday, I got a long text from Mom. Emily, this behavior is unacceptable. Anna is family, and you're treating her like a stranger. She deserves stability. You should be proud to share your blessings instead of hoarding them. The irony almost made me laugh. My sacrifices, my savings, my mortgage, and yet somehow, I was the selfish one. But I knew then, I couldn't keep playing defense. If Mom wanted to keep pushing, I needed to protect myself in ways she couldn't argue with. So on Monday, I called a lawyer. Sitting in his office, I explained everything, the house, the key, the intrusions, the manipulation. He listened quietly, jotting notes, then leaned back in his chair. You're already on the deed as sole owner, he said. That's airtight. But if you want to stop the harassment, I suggest sending a certified letter, formally stating your sister and mother have no rights to the property and that entering without your consent constitutes trespassing. The word felt heavy in my chest. Trespassing. Could I really do that? I asked softly. He nodded. Not only can you should. Boundaries aren't selfish, Miss Carter. They're protection. For the first time in weeks, I felt like someone was on my side. That night, I sat at my kitchen table drafting the letter with his help. It was short, firm, and undeniable. As the sole owner of the property located at address, I am notifying you that you have no legal right to access or occupy this residence. Any further attempt to enter without my consent will be considered trespassing and dealt with accordingly. I mailed 2 copies the next morning, one to Mom, one to Anna. Certified. Signature required. It was a line in the sand, and once it was drawn, there was no going back. The fallout was immediate. Mom called me in a fury. How dare you treat your own family like criminals? A trespassing notice? Against your sister? I held the phone steady. I told you before, Mom. This is my house. You didn't listen. Now you have it in writing. Her voice shook with rage. You've become heartless.
Cold.
All that money and independence has poisoned you. I almost laughed at the irony. Independence had saved me. Or maybe, I said calmly, I've just stopped letting you control me. Her gasp echoed in my ear before she hung up. Anna, on the other hand, didn't call. She showed up. One afternoon, I came home to find her sitting in her car at the curb, arms crossed, glaring at me. As I walked past, she rolled down the window. You're unbelievable, she spat. A letter? To your own sister? I paused, looking her dead in the eyes. If you weren't my sister, you'd already be facing charges. I'm giving you more grace than you deserve. Her jaw clenched, her eyes narrowing. You think this house makes you better than me? You're still the same boring Emily. Mom's right. You'll never matter the way I do. The words hit, sharp and bitter, but they didn't wound like they used to, because I could see the cracks in her bravado. Her car was messy, filled with moving boxes and garbage bags. Her clothes looked worn. She was unraveling, and Mom couldn't shield her from reality anymore. So, I just shook my head. Keep telling yourself that, Anna. Meanwhile, I'll be in my house. I walked inside, locking the door firmly behind me. Weeks passed, and my life settled into something almost peaceful. My business thrived, my house felt safe, and slowly, I stopped flinching every time the phone buzzed. But peace never lasts long with people who thrive on chaos. One Saturday evening, I hosted a few friends for dinner. We were laughing around the table when suddenly, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Mom, standing there with her arms folded, Anna sulking behind her. We need to talk, Mom said flatly. I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. About what? This nonsense, she snapped. The locks, the letter, the threats. Enough is enough. Anna needs a place, and you're going to give it to her. End of story. I blinked at her audacity. End of story? Mom, the story already ended when I bought this house. It's mine. Anna doesn't get to live here. And you don't get to decide otherwise. Her nostrils flared. You think a piece of paper makes you powerful? I straightened, my hazel eyes steady.
No, Mom.
My hard work, my independence, and my name on that deed make me powerful. The paper just proves it. For the first time, I saw something flicker across her face, not just anger, but fear. Because she realized she couldn't bend me anymore. That night, after they left in a huff, I sat in my living room with my friends, shaking slightly from the adrenaline. One of them squeezed my hand. You're stronger than you know. Most people would have caved by now. But you're standing tall. And for the first time in my life, I believed it. This wasn't just about a house anymore. It was about reclaiming every piece of myself they'd tried to take. And I wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. When you grow up in a family like mine, you learn that battles aren't won in private. My mom thrived on appearances, on how things looked to the outside world. She could twist a one-on-one argument into me being selfish or difficult, but in front of an audience, her power wavered. So when I heard about the upcoming family reunion, 40 cousins, aunts, and uncles all descending on my parents' backyard, I knew that would be the stage. If my mother wanted to pretend my house was community property, if she wanted to parade Anna as the only daughter worth respecting, fine. I'd use her own favorite weapon, witnesses. The day of the reunion, I wore a navy dress with a blazer, professional but not cold. My hair fell in soft waves around my shoulders, and I held a slim leather folder under my arm. When I walked into the backyard, Mom's smile was tight. Anna hovered at her side like a shadow, already rolling her eyes at me. I didn't engage. Not yet. I greeted relatives, accepted hugs, made small talk. But I could feel Mom watching me, waiting for me to slip. And when dinner was served, she made her move. Standing with her wine glass raised, she cleared her throat dramatically. Before we eat, I just want to say how proud I am of Anna. She's been through so much, and it's wonderful that she finally has Emily's house as a safe space to land. Family takes care of family. The words hit like a sucker punch. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Cousins glanced at me. An uncle whispered something to his wife. And I knew this was it. I stood slowly, setting down my fork. My folder rested against my hip. Actually, I said clearly, my voice carrying across the yard, that's not true. All eyes turned to me. Mom's smile faltered. This house you're talking about, I continued, isn't Anna's safe space. It isn't Mom's to hand out. It's mine. I worked for it. I paid for it, and my name is the only one on the deed.
Gasps.
My aunt frowned. Someone muttered, wait, really? I opened the folder, pulling out the document. This is the deed. Emily Carter, sole owner. Not Anna. Not Mom.
Me.
The silence that followed was electric. Anna's face went pale. Mom sputtered. Emily, this is not the place. This is exactly the place. I cut in. My hazel eyes locked on hers, unflinching. You've been lying to this family, making it sound like you control something you never earned. You disrespected me in my own home. That ends today. My cousin leaned forward, eyebrows raised. So wait, Anna's been staying at your house without your permission? I nodded, breaking in with a key Mom gave her. I've changed the locks. I've sent legal letters. I've done everything to set boundaries. But they don't care. A ripple of murmurs swept through the crowd. My uncle shook his head. That's not right. Mom's face turned scarlet. She's twisting the story. But for once, no one was buying it. Anna slammed her fork down. This is humiliating, she snapped. You're supposed to be my sister. I turned to her, my voice calm. Being your sister doesn't mean giving up everything I worked for. I spent years saving for that house. Years of saying no to things so I could afford it. You don't get to waltz in and claim it because Mom says so. She opened her mouth, then closed it, her eyes darting around the table as if looking for backup. None came. For the first time in my life, Anna had no audience. The meal limped along after that, conversation awkward and stilted. My mother tried to redirect attention back to Anna, but it was useless. The shift had happened, and I could feel it. The invisible daughter wasn't invisible anymore. When I left that night, my aunt squeezed my hand. Good for you, Emily. About time someone stood up to them. I drove home with my heart pounding, adrenaline buzzing in my veins. I had done it. I had stood up publicly. And there was no going back. That night, sitting in my living room, I placed the deed back into its folder and set it on the coffee table. I ran my fingers over the leather, breathing deeply. For years, my mom's words had shaped me. She told me I was less, that Anna was the only one who mattered. But tonight, I had shown everyone the truth. And it was just the beginning. Because if my mom and Anna thought they could push me back into the shadows after this, they were in for a rude awakening. After the reunion, the phone calls started. At first, it was Mom. She rang me 3 times the next day, each voicemail angrier than the last. How dare you humiliate me in front of the family? You've embarrassed Anna beyond repair. Everyone thinks she's some kind of leech. Emily, you've destroyed this family's reputation. I hope you're happy. I listened to each message once, then deleted them. My chest still tightened at her words, but for the first time, I didn't crumble. Because the truth had already been spoken out loud. And once spoken, it couldn't be unsaid. Anna's retaliation came next. I came home one evening to find a note taped to my door. Enjoy your empty house. You'll always be alone without us. I crumpled it in my fist, shaking my head. She thought loneliness was punishment. She didn't understand that solitude in my own home felt like freedom. But my mother wasn't ready to let go. The following Sunday, she cornered me in her kitchen while the rest of the family bustled around setting the table. "You think you've won, don't you?" she hissed. I met her glare with calm eyes. "This isn't about winning, Mom. It's about respect. And you've never given me any." Her lip curled. "Respect? You think buying a house makes you superior? Anna has heart. She has talent. You're just cold, rigid, money-driven." Her words should have stung. Once, they would have carved me open. But now, I just shook my head. You confuse boundaries with coldness. You confuse responsibility with rigidity. And maybe you confuse favoritism with love. But I don't. For a flicker of a second, I saw something in her eyes. Doubt. Maybe even shame. But it vanished as quickly as it came. She turned away, muttering, "You'll regret this." A week later, regret came knocking. Literally. It was Anna, again on my porch, this time with a suitcase. Her mascara was smudged, her hair messy. She looked smaller than I'd ever seen her. She said, her voice cracking.
Please.
I have nowhere to go. My lease is gone, my credit shot, and Mom won't stop yelling at me. Just let me crash here. Just for a little while. Something twisted in my chest. Because for all her arrogance, for all her entitlement, she was still my sister. But then I remembered the locksmith bill, the lawyer's fees, the endless fights, the nights I lay awake replaying Mom's words. And I realized pity wasn't the same as forgiveness. "I'm sorry, Anna," I said softly but firmly. "But you can't stay here. You need to figure this out on your own. That's the only way you'll grow." Her face crumpled. "You're heartless." "No," I whispered, closing the door gently. "I'm finally free." That night, I called my lawyer again. "Can we take this a step further?" I asked. "Something more permanent?" He suggested a restraining notice, not a full order, but a legal document making it clear that Anna and my mother had no right to approach or harass me regarding my property. It felt extreme. But so had changing the locks. So had sending letters. And every step I'd taken had been necessary. So, I signed the paperwork. When the notice was delivered, Mom exploded. "You've gone too far," she screamed over the phone. "How could you drag your own family into court? This is betrayal, Emily. You'll regret this when you're old and alone." I listened quietly, then said, "The only betrayal here was you giving away what wasn't yours. I'm just protecting myself. Something you never did for me." Her silence was sharp. Then the line went dead. In the weeks that followed, the calls stopped. Anna vanished from my porch. The storm quieted. For the first time in years, my life was my own. I woke up in my house and breathed freely. I hosted friends without fear of my sister barging in. I sat in my garden with tea and felt peace settle over me like a blanket. It wasn't just a house anymore. It was proof. Proof that I could fight for myself. Proof that I could draw a line and stand on it. Proof that their voices didn't define me. But the best part came unexpectedly. One evening, I ran into my aunt at the grocery store. She leaned close, her voice low. "Emily, I just want you to know, we all see what's happening. And we're proud of you. You've shown more strength than anyone in this family ever has." I blinked back sudden tears, nodding silently. Because in that moment, I realized something powerful. I hadn't just reclaimed my house. I'd reclaimed myself. And no one, not my mother, not Anna, not anyone, could take that away again. It's strange how silence, the very thing I used to fear most, became my greatest gift. For weeks after the restraining notice, my phone stayed quiet. No more tirades from Mom. No more guilt-laden texts. No more Anna banging on my door with suitcases and entitlement. For the first time in my life, the air around me was still. And in that stillness, I heard something I'd almost forgotten existed. My own voice. I spent those weeks reclaiming not just my house, but myself. I decorated the spare room into an art studio, something I'd always dreamed of, but never dared to do because Anna had been the creative one. I painted messy canvases, let colors splash onto my hands, and laughed like a kid again. I hosted dinner parties with friends who cheered my victories instead of belittling them. We sat around my oak dining table, the same one Anna once tried to claim as hers, and toasted to new beginnings. And I woke up every morning with the sun streaming through my curtains, whispering to myself, I earned this. I own this. I am enough. But peace has a way of bringing clarity. One afternoon, I ran into Anna at a cafe. She looked different, tired, yes, but also humbled. She spotted me and hesitated before walking over. Emily, she said softly, I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. I studied her carefully. This was the sister who had waltzed into my house with a stolen key, who had sneered that Mom said she mattered more, who had called me heartless for protecting myself. But this was also the sister who had been coddled her whole life, who never learned to stand without being propped up, who had been set up to fail by the very favoritism that once crushed me. I nodded. I hope you figure yourself out, Anna. But I can't carry you anymore. She blinked back tears and whispered, I know. Then she walked away. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger watching her go. I felt free. As for Mom, the silence between us stretched into months. She sent one letter, handwritten, her script shaky. Emily, I don't understand the woman you've become. But I suppose I never really tried to. Maybe that was my mistake. Don't think I'll ever agree with how you've handled things, but I can't ignore what you've built. It wasn't an apology. It wasn't even close. But it was the closest thing to acknowledgement she'd ever given me. And oddly, I didn't need it anymore. Because I'd learned something vital. Love without respect isn't love at all. And respect doesn't come from begging. It comes from boundaries, from standing firm even when your knees shake, from saying no when everyone expects you to cave. The house taught me that. It wasn't just brick and wood and paint. It was the first time I planted a flag and said, this is mine. This is me. And when they tried to take it, when Mom gifted away my key like it was a toy, when Anna strutted in like she owned it, I fought back. Not with screaming, not with fists, but with truth. And the truth was stronger than any lie they spun. Now, when I walk through the front door, I run my hand over the lock, the one only I hold the key to. I breathe deeply, knowing this sanctuary is untouchable. And sometimes, I sit on the porch with a glass of wine, looking at the world beyond the fence, and I smile. Because the sweetest revenge wasn't throwing them out. It wasn't waving the deed in their faces. It was living here, every single day, in peace they can't touch. If I could tell the younger version of myself, the girl who cried in her car when Mom dismissed her again, I'd tell her this. One day, you'll stop begging for their love. You'll stop waiting to be chosen. You'll choose yourself. And when you do, no one will ever take that away again.
So, yes.
My mom gave my sister a key to my house. But she forgot something critical, whose name was on the deed. And that single detail changed everything. Because in the end, that name, my name, was the only one that mattered.